Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Profit Lab podcast. As always, we rock the morning with some rock music. Welcome, welcome. I am your host, Marie Torossian, certified 10X coach, CFO, auditor, CPA, and you name it. I serve the entrepreneurial community through my CPA firm, Marie Torossian CPA, and my management consulting company, the Profit Lab. The Profit Lab podcast serves to expand our mission to empower entrepreneurs by bringing their stories to the masses. We are thrilled to tell your story to inspire, empower, and uplift other entrepreneurs. So make sure to check out our audio version of our podcast at theprofitlab.biz/podcast. We launched our podcast on August 2nd, where I spoke about my entrepreneurial journey so far. And I shared some valuable takeaways that from my learnings and my challenges. But every week, I'm planning to feature entrepreneurs from all walks of life. Sorry about that. Getting a confusion here. It's been a long, long day. So just go ahead. If you'd like to be a guest on my show, go ahead and submit an email to support@theprofitlab.biz. Today is our 16th episode, and we are going live on Facebook at the Profit Lab Biz, on my LinkedIn channel, Marie Torossian CPA, CGMA, and on my YouTube channel, Marie Torossian CPA. So make sure you subscribe, follow, like, and share so that other entrepreneurs can hear these stories and learn from them. Today, my guest is Jason Beck, CEO of Highest Republican, one of the first medical marijuana dispensary operators in the U.S. He was born with cerebral palsy. Mr. Beck is in the unique position of being a patient, a caregiver, a business owner, a cultivation specialist, an advocate, and an advisor in the fields of medicinal use of marijuana. With that, Jason, welcome to the Profit Lab podcast. It's exciting to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Marie. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a very unique for me. It's a new thing. You're the first one in this industry that I'm bringing on the show, so I'm excited. It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Well, I feel honored. Thank you so much. This is great.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, Jason, the way we usually start the show is usually we want to know the person that you. So I know a lot of people go into right into like talking about their business all the time, but I like to talk about the person because that's the only way we connect with each other. So whatever you're willing to share from a personal standpoint, we'd love to hear about it.
Okay. First of all, my name is Jason Beck. I was born with cerebral palsy. Doctors said that when I was born that I would not live, and that if I did live, the whole right side of my body would be paralyzed and I would never walk.
Wow.
Yet I played high school football for one of the most winningest high schools in the country, Pittsburgh High School. We were the last team to beat De La Salle, which is the top-ranked high school in the nation.
Amazing.
And so I've always believed in perseverance and enduring through the turmoil and always persevering and continuing the goal, because ultimately you always have to wake up the next day and everyone still all puts their pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations for your perseverance. And that's true. That's exactly how we can stand up every day and face the day. I've told it before on my show. I came from a background where I was born and raised in Lebanon in the middle of war. So all I know from the time I was born was like war until I left the country. So every day that you stand up during those type of hardships, it's always makes you stronger every day.
Yes.
So congratulations to you for continuously persevering through the hardships that you've had to face. So tell us a little bit more about what motivated you. Well, maybe we kind of know about it, but what motivated you to start this entrepreneurial journey? Is this your first business?
Well, yeah, I basically turned a pager into a storefront. And so in 1996 is when medical cannabis passed here in California.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually the very first year that I was eligible to vote. So my very first vote that I ever voted was for Proposition 215 to legalize medical cannabis in the state of California. And I knew that if that passed, that somehow that was going to be my career path going forward.
Interesting.
And so I had my first store back in 2001. There was probably only about 15 of us operating in the country during that time. It was also a time when President Bush was the president currently, and he campaigned on the fact of wanting to close every single cannabis business down that was currently operating within the state of California. This was before there anything was in Colorado or any of these other states at all whatsoever. And so I got into that field, and I quickly learned that cannabis is a medical cannabis, particularly, is a political issue way before it is a business. And so I got very involved in the intertwinings of politics within the city and county of San Francisco, and really that's where I really learned a lot of my politicalness, so to say, in regards to, because I advise a number of different members on cannabis policy in regards to. So, and I have for years. So I was on the medical cannabis task force when Terrence Hallinan was the district attorney in San Francisco, and in that body we created three main policies. One of them is we made San Francisco a sanctuary city for medical cannabis. The second one was we made it the lowest priority for law enforcement in the city and county of San Francisco as far as enforcement on medical cannabis. And the third thing, which I am the most proud of, is we partnered with the Department of Public Health, and we created the San Francisco Patient Identification ID card that you actually went to a health department and got, and it was the first ever actual government issued ID that doesn't have a name on it, because we were concerned with the fact that the federal government would want to come in to the health department in San Francisco and raid those offices and confiscate all of the medical records of the patients that were currently registered within the program. It was a completely anonymous program, and basically you would come up to the health department, go to the window, submit your doctor's recommendation. They would verify that, and then they would take your picture and they would print you a card with the San Francisco Department of Health logo, along with the City and County of San Francisco's logo, with just your picture and a 16-digit number and an expiration date. And it's the first ever government issued ID that does not have your name on it, but it still is a valid photo government issued ID.
Interesting. Yeah, that is very interesting.
Later in California with SB 420, we actually turned that card program that we created in San Francisco into the statewide program, and now every single health department in the state of California issues a state card. Wow,
that's amazing work. That is amazing work. I never get into politics; it's just too much for me. So I applaud you for being able to put up with all of that stuff. I cannot do it. I just cannot.
I try to tell people they need to look at it as that politics is America's telenovela.
I love it. It sure is. I literally, you know what? I do not watch the news that much anymore. It's just too much for me. It's too much of drama, too much. Like you're right. It is a telenovela. Yeah,
it's a telenovela.
So that's amazing work. You've done great. Definitely amazing. And your motivation came from, did you because you believe that medicinal marijuana was what's going to help you from your
So I was born with cerebral palsy, and I grew up in a pretty crazy neighborhood, and I was actually the last of all of my friends to actually consume cannabis as far as like age wise. But I still started to consume cannabis at the age of 13, and after the first time I consumed cannabis, I noticed that I was able to move a little bit more fluidly, and I was also noticed that I was able to process my thoughts a little faster.
Interesting.
And so I've been using it medically for my condition. It also helps with muscle spasms and a number of different things that cannabis helps with. And so I've been an advocate for the plant in regards to that for the medical use.
That makes sense. That makes total sense. So, and it's interesting. I mean, I have not gotten into that, in consuming that information as much as maybe I should. Maybe now I'm going to end up, listening and being more informed on this type of information. And I can see,
The best way for you to get informed
yeah.
is for you to check out my daily cannabis news show, High at Night.
There's a website right there, guys.
Yes, check
let
it
me
out.
read
We're
it
live
out.
on YouTube every day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m.
There you go.
High noon on the East Coast.
There you go. So we got to make sure that we say the website too, so that those who are listening can actually go and check it out. It's www.highat9.com.
Yes,
highat9.com.
HIGHAT, the number 9.com.
There you go. Love that.
Thank you so much.
So, Jason, so tell us a little bit more about who has been a major impact in your life, whether as a business owner or as an advocate for medicinal marijuana. Like, who has been the most impactful person to you, or maybe an impactful moment?
There's been so many people throughout the time, and I've been around a long time, and I've had cannabis business for over 20 years now. And I think that's like more than dog years. You know what I mean? When you do the 10x multiplier on that. But there's been so many people. Some people that come to mind, of course, Dennis Perone. He was the author of Proposition 215. Wayne Justman, who I consider basically my political consigliere. That was who I learned a lot of my political savviness from in the early days of medical cannabis in San Francisco. He was known during that time as the godfather of medical cannabis, and that is what a number of the board of supervisors in San Francisco would refer to him as. And so he was definitely always a big help. Congressman Rohrabacher was another champion that I worked with. Together we created the Rohrabacher Farm Amendment, which was the federal appropriations bill that prohibits the DOJ and DEA from extrapolating federal funds, that allows them to go after, prohibits them from going after state licensed cannabis businesses. So all of those things, those are just some, and there's so many. I know I left out a ton of people, and so if you see this and you've done something amazing, I apologize. But there's so many to list.
Yeah, we do have, sometimes under pressure we forget certain people, but I'm sure you had a lot of people on mind,
Yes.
and so it's not intentional, I'm pretty sure. So let's see. So usually, my question would be to most business owners, like, who are your customers? So I'm not sure if that would directly apply to you.
Customers nowadays would be anyone 21 and over.
Okay.
Yeah, anyone 21 and over, or 18 and over with a medical recommendation.
Medical recommendation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would
Or
you
if
tell
you're
us
a parent, if you're a parent that has a sick child, then we will also help you out in regards to that as well.
Okay. Would you be able to maybe tell us, for some of us who, like me, are not as knowing of what are some of the let's say health conditions that medicinal marijuana would be helpful to? Would you be able to list some in general?
Well, now that's going to depend. The states have different in each different state, depending. You should check out the laws in whatever state or territory that you reside in, and those will basically kind of tell you conditions that qualify for a medical recommendation. Remember, it's not a prescription; it's actually a recommendation, because you cannot prescribe a Schedule I drug. This is what you can recommend in that sense. So it's a recommendation. In California, we actually had it written. There was a number of different conditions that it lists, and then there's this last sentence in there, and it says, "or for anything that cannabis alleviates pain and suffering from." And so therefore in California, when they say that you can basically get a recommendation for anything, that in part is true, but at the same time, it's with the intent that you are relieving yourself from pain and suffering.
Understood. Okay. And then, so 21 years of age, or it could be a parent buying it for their child.
Yeah, well, so there is
Medical
these
recommendation.
cases when children have these traumatic seizures, and sometimes cannabis is one of the things that helps them to stop from
Wow.
that. And so I just want to make sure that we're covering all bases, because cannabis does help a number of people. And if you are a parent in that, I do suggest that you reach out and find someone that can assist in that way in your state.
Understood. Thank you so much. And that's why, like, since I'm not as known, and that's why you're here, like, you're educating us right here from not only from a business standpoint, but also in this area. And I wanted to also read out your other website, which is www.highestrepublican.com.
Yes,
Highestrepublican.com.
yes, the highestrepublican.com.
How
That's
did you
right.
come up with that name?
Well, because it says it all within itself. That's what I am, the highest Republican. It's very, very self-explanatory. I started working with Republicans a number of years ago because I noticed that there was a very, very big problem with the type of what would you call them, people that were doing outreach on behest of the cannabis movement, and
Mhm.
these were just not the right type of people that were poised to have those right types of conversations. They would dress up in these clown outfits and these funny hats and whatnot, and to me, it just made our industry look like a clown show, and
Mm,
that's not what you do when you go to Washington D.C.
right.
And so and I knew also too, with my personal story, that could help to help to garner more support, because that's where the most support was needed in the cannabis space, was on the Republican side.
Understood. That's good to know. So, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, what are some of the, let's say, non-political, like from an actual business standpoint,
Hmm.
what are some of the challenges that you have uh, faced?
In cannabis, I mean, in cannabis,
And,
we have a gross over regulation policies, and that's pretty
okay.
much in every single state. We have
Okay.
a gross over taxation problem, and that's in pretty much every single state.
Mm,
And all of that only helps to fuel the illicit market, because
right.
of
You cannot really market,
these
right?
because of this over regulation and this over taxation. I mean, when you can go and you can buy a pack of gummies for $12 on a corner, versus going and buying a pack of gummies for $25 in a licensed store. That's a big difference. And in this
Right.
economy right now, I mean, families are pinching for dollars everywhere that they can.
Right.
And so I think these states really need to get a grip on reality and stop this gross overtaxation. I mean, in California alone, depending on the municipality that you shop in, taxes can range anywhere from 35% to over 50%,
Wow. That
and
is
that
great.
and that does nothing but fuel the illicit market, and pushes people out of the regulated marketplace to purchase, and pushes them into the
To the
illicit
right.
marketplace.
Right. Absolutely. And then I think I may have heard, and I'm not sure if it's correct, but as a medicinal marijuana business, as a business, are you able to actually like market like on the web? Like,
You can market some sorts. There are a number of restrictions, and that all pertains to the state that you're operating in, also, because each different state has different
got
marketing
it.
and advertising rules. So depending on what state you're in, you're going to need to check with that. Um, but no, it definitely is very tricky. In California, one of the things, like, you're supposed to have your license number on all of your marketing material. So if you're a cannabis company and
Wow.
you make
Okay.
you make a water bottle to give away, you're supposed to have your license number on that bottle too. What's really funny is that, there's some people that have 20 or so licenses. And so if that is really the case, right,
How
how are
could
you
you?
supposed to fit all those 20, 30 licenses on the same merchandise? I mean, like, now you're just marketing your licensing numbers, basically, instead of your actual
Right.
business.
It doesn't make sense from a business standpoint at all. Like
Yeah,
it just doesn't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I know that I know from an accounting standpoint, and I don't do specifically, this industry accounting because it's very specific with regulations. Hence
Yeah.
why I don't
Well,
do it.
280E is a killer for us.
But I know other accountants that actually do specifically work on that. But I do know that that is very, very difficult as well. So that's a hindrance for the business as well, in a way, as an
Exactly.
industry. Yeah.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's one of the biggest costs that we have is the fact that we can't write off our cost of goods. Makes it very, very difficult to be a cannabis operator in this type of regulatory environment.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult industry to be in. It's interesting. I mean, there was a reason why you were supposed to be on my show. I don't know, because
Yeah.
this is an industry that I was intrigued to learn a little bit more. And then guess what? You just said, "Hey, I'll be on the show," and it was so exciting. I'm so happy you're here.
No worries. Thank you for reaching out. Without a doubt.
I also wanted to a little bit touch base because sometimes I go off of my usual questions because I'm looking at someone's bio and see what else I find something interesting they're working on, and I see you also work on you're part of the Can Do Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's a number of different nonprofit groups that I work with that deal with a whole host of different things around criminal justice reform in regards with cannabis. One of those is Can Do Clemency, CANDO Clemency, CLEMENCY .org. And that is founded by Amy Lupova, who's a very close friend of mine. And what we do there is we identify inmates that are eligible for clemency and then help them file the necessary paperwork to get through that clemency process. Another one is Freedom Grow, freedomgrow.org. That one, 100% of the proceeds go onto the books of nonviolent cannabis offenders that are serving life in federal prison. There is approximately, I believe, 150 people on that list currently that we have that receive money. And then they also recently started kind of like a Make-A-Wish Foundation for these guys. In the sense of like if they have something like that they want to get for one of their relatives or something like that, then we raise the capital to help make that accomplishment for them since they're unable to be providing for their family. And also to the Project Mission Green with Weldon Angelos. Weldon Angelos was convicted in Utah to 55 and a half years prison time for selling, I believe it was like a gram or an ounce of weed, but there was a firearm involved as well. And so it was convicted 55 and a half years federally.
Wow.
However, it wasn't just like there was a gun that was there. It wasn't like he was garnishing the gun or using it in or anything like that. That was nothing like that at all whatsoever. Just happened to be in the same place at the same time. And so they used that to give him that time, and he received clemency. He received clemency from Obama and a full pardon from Trump, if I remember that correctly. Amy Lupova, she received clemency under President Clinton, and I believe she received a full pardon under Trump as well. And also, Stephanie Landis, she served 4.5 years for cultivating medical cannabis when she was given approval by the district attorney in San Francisco, and then the narcotics department wanted to go around them and turn their case over to the feds, and she ended up doing 4.5 years for legally cultivating medical cannabis. So all of the people I work with have walked the walk and talked the talk, and those are the people I think that are really doing the strong grassroots effort and fight, and that's where I feel like the fund should be pushed towards are those three organizations right there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You're doing excellent work. It's amazing. I feel like I still have so much catching up to do with making big impact.
No worries. Well, just remember you can tune in daily to High at 9 News and 1 full hour of all the cannabis news that you need to know to stay up to date, to know what is happening in the ever developing cannabis world.
Sounds good. Awesome. So Jason, we usually end the show with, we would like, from entrepreneur to entrepreneur, what are 3 recommendations that you would like to give business related to entrepreneurs as they start their businesses.
Never stop. Don't quit. And remember always why you started doing what you're doing.
Ah, the big why.
Yes.
I love that. Yes, the big why.
Always remember why. That's the biggie right there.
Yeah, because the bigger the why, the more you're driven, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
Well, or the bigger the why, the more road you have to drive down.
Yes.
The bigger the vehicle you can get to load all your friends in with and go for a nice ride along through the business world.
That's right. That's right. Jason, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. And is there any other last minute message you want to leave our audience with?
No, just remember that, being an entrepreneur is not easy. If that was the case, everybody would do it. There's a very small percentage of people that choose to be entrepreneurs, and I encourage anyone that wants to follow their dreams in that right, because this is America. It's the greatest country in the world, and it is one of the only countries that you truly can do that in. And so I applaud everyone that has taken that step and willing to bet on themselves.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Jason. And again, thank you so much for being here, and congratulations for making such a big impact in your industry. This is, it's helping so many people. And whether it is in California or at the federal level, thank you so much for all the big impact and the big work you're doing. And to all of us, our viewers and our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it as always. Let's make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and make sure so that other entrepreneurs can actually see the show and learn from all the entrepreneurs that we bring on the show. So let's empower each other through our experiences. Until the next episode, have a wonderful and blessed rest of your week. And if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas and all of that. Take care.
Yes, and Happy Hanukkah too.
And Happy Hanukkah.
Yes.
And Happy New Year. I don't know. I may not do the next show, but they will see the repeat.
Yep. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Marie. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jason. Have a great one. See you soon.
Have a great day.